day, dude, I feel like everybody's right and everybody's wrong.
100%. Why is this important? Why are we even going here? He's helped a lot of guys. He's also not had success with a lot of guys.
Come in with a purpose, and they're very intentional with what they do and how they do it.
From the majors to the sandlot, baseball and softball share space in one place. Welcome to the farm system.
Fellas, and the ladies, welcome back to another episode of The Farm. We're getting to sit down today with Allie. Like, we've been trying to set this up for a minute here, but she was like, listen, we lined her up, got her coming in town. She's having some fun also here in Vegas, you know, doing her post-college time, you know what I'm saying? But I think more than anything, we were talking about it before, obviously at the end of your season, how I was like, yo, I just want to sit down. I like to do it with a lot of our seniors too, just sit down and recap their process, right, of years. And then also too, I think you have a very impactful story, I think, just in your journey of college that I think it's more common than people think, the route, but at the same time not talked about very much. So I also wanted you on that side to kind of share that, because I know that it would really help a lot of girls too, of they have this idea of what college softball or what their experience or what they think, how they think everything's going to go, and I'm going to be this 4-year All-American, and I'm going to bat 600 every single year, and I'm never going to not bat in the middle lineup because that's what I've done my whole life. And then so I think with that I kind of wanted to dive into a bunch of that stuff too. So why don't you give everybody kind of the intro, little quick backstory, kind of just your upbringing a little bit, and then we'll kind of dive into all that.
Cool. I'm from Houston, Texas. I've been there for 22 years now. So I grew up with my parents, Rose and Scott. Love them to death.
Yeah, best.
They've always been around and helped me do travel ball and everything and be with me. I was asked by one of my now best friends' dad to catch her one time when we were 8, going into 8U All-Stars, because they wanted our 10U pitching to be ready before we got there. And I've been catching ever since. She's now been an outfielder for 10 years.
That's the setup right there.
She was an infielder, and then she got moved to outfield, but she stopped pitching in high school.
Yeah, I think every outfielder started as an infielder, and then slowly at some point, and made the transition. So that's fair. And
she had a crazy senior year at Notre Dame, so I was really proud of her. She was their leadoff whole year.
Nice.
Did high school, did the whole thing. Do you want recruiting stuff? Or
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I did travel ball forever, and then before
you gotta give the club ball team the shout out though too, because
You're really putting me on that, aren't you?
Yep, I'm not the,
in high school, I played for Impact Gold for 3 years. Shout out Jazz, love you. Then my senior year, I played for Hot Shots, Mel Dumovich, love her dearly. And so I went to Klein High School, played there all 4 years. But recruiting wise, I was still at the age where you could be recruited before your junior year. That was horrible. Of all experiences, being 14 and feeling like you're behind because you hadn't committed yet was crazy. And so I went to a camp, just one of those random camps that you don't even think about. I was going to a UT camp around 8th grade summer. And it was just a thing. My dad said, hey, do you want to go? And I was like, sure. Didn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
Didn't recognize Coach Clark upon meeting her.
Classic
move.
Yeah.
I'm sure my treating her so normally, I didn't know who she was, was really...
Actually played well, probably.
Really drew her in.
It's all right, well, she wasn't, didn't treat me like a celebrity.
Yeah,
it was solid,
it was basic. And they really got interested. They came to watch me a couple times, and then I got invited to their exclusive camp my freshman year, and I committed my freshman year to UT before the rule changed by 3 months.
Yeah.
So then, of course, the rule changes. You can't speak to your coaches. They talk, say we're good, we'll see you in a year and a half.
Yeah.
The coaching staff changes 3 months later.
Yeah.
As it does. Then it was kind of a weird limbo situation where you're getting used to, being committed. So I had just changed teams around this point, and I'm having to get to know a new coach and all forms of it as well. And it was rough trying to realize I have to step up, because Coach White was obviously like such a powerhouse coming from Oregon. Yeah. And I wanted to be one of those players that I didn't want to be the player he took. I wanted to be a player he wanted to keep.
Yeah, that's a good mindset.
And between that and moving to play with Jazz, I realized, okay, like I'm okay, but I have to be better if I want to do the things I say I want to do. And so playing with all those girls really helped me pick it up. But it was a weird little situation we were in, because I was still technically allowed to go to other schools' camps, but we were good between Texas and I, but they were like, if you need to like go see some other stuff, go see some other stuff. Yeah. I had gone to this camp that I was kind of asked to go to, and because I love the coaching staff there, they're sweet and everything. I've known them for now, I guess, 9 years, but it's like a weird little limbo. I went to Stanford to try to just kind of, hey, you guys like me? Yeah. She had no idea who I was at the time. Of course, you know, like I was out in Texas, like I hadn't done a ton of like the major recruiting circuits in California. Yeah. And then going into my junior year, once we could talk, I was still actually very fine with going to Texas. Yeah. And then the COVID situation kind of changed a lot. Yeah. Because originally I thought I was going to be, you know, one of like 4 catchers with a pretty decent shot of playing with, you know, maybe 1 or 2 years of sitting bench and getting better, learning from the coaches. And with COVID, it turned out I was going to have a minimum of 2 years sitting the bench as catcher number 6 of 6. Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then my junior summer, I had a very good summer. Very like blessed for that. And then I just was filling out my college applications, and I was filling out my UT application like I was supposed to. Then I was just like, I'm just gonna open the Stanford application, because you know, you gotta see what's going on there, see what it's like. And we were driving up to Oklahoma for a tournament, and I had to submit an application. I was told I have to finish one application. My parents didn't care which one it was, but I had to finish one of them. And for some reason, I decided to finish the Stanford one. So I submit that, and I just called Jazz, and I was like, hey, I submitted my Stanford application. Do you want to just like tell them I applied? Just to see. This is October like 1st, and signing day's in November. Yeah. And I didn't hear anything back for 3 weeks. And so I was just assuming I'm going to Texas, everything. And then I hear back from them, and they'd like to meet me on a call and everything. So I have a talk with the coaches. I shift my application into like the early read thing. And they were like, it can take like some time, so we might not know till December on your application. I was like, oh, I don't know about that. Like I'm signing on signing day. And I ended up getting a call 2 weeks before signing day that my application had been accepted to Stanford. Nice. And as a kid, I wanted to go to Stanford. It didn't matter. Yeah. Like, everybody wants to play at the World Series. Everybody wants to go win a natty. Yeah. But I was like, going to Stanford, saying I did that always sounded really cool as a kid, because I always, like, it's always like, you think you're smart, but like, Stanford smart by myself is rough. Yeah. And so after getting in, I have a phone call with Texas and explain like everything going on, and Coach White and Coach Singh were the best. Like, they totally understand, like, we're still friendly when we see each other. And I had accepted and signed at Stanford that fall. And that was one of the most like craziest things. Like, I saw a picture of like 8th grade me, and it was my first like big time college camp that that was my first P5 or P4 now camp was at Stanford. And I was like, if I told that girl she was going to Stanford, she would be so proud. And then senior year, of course, in high school was, I told you this. I was like, but it was going to be great. Obviously, I felt great. I was going where I wanted to go, and it was, I think, the second official game of the season, and I tried to avoid a tag and tore my left ACL.
It's one of those things. One of those
You can
games.
cut that
It's this one or that one.
Yeah,
So,
so I tore my ACL, so I had to get that done. So it was a new experience. I had never had an injury like that.
Yeah.
And having to rehab was such an interesting thing, and I wanted so badly to say, like, I played my last travel ball game, and I did all this stuff, and doing rehab so I could come back to school ready.
Yeah.
And so I tried to rush a 6 to 9 month rehab process into about 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, if you ask my strength coach at college, I did not run like I was supposed to.
Yeah.
After
Just got back
rehab.
quick.
I looked like I just had surgery when I ran.
Yeah.
But that was the whole recruiting journey, it's crazy, and I'm a lot happier for the kids now that they get a chance to be a kid in travel ball. And it's important to do well and push yourself and move to like higher standards, but to not put all this kind of like knowing pressure on yourself to have to decide where you want to go to college, know like what major you're going to do, all this stuff at 14, which is insane that there's kids wanting to do that had to do that. Yeah. And now you kind of get the chance to develop yourself a little bit before you have to pick a school that fits with you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and then, I know that also, like you said, throughout that, it also too, for example, is like we train, people don't know this obviously just from like the gender side of things is like females tear their ACLs like at a way higher clip than males. It's like astronomically higher, like 60+% higher, if I believe off the top of my head. And again, a lot of it has to do with like anatomy and your guys' hips comparatively. You guys are naturally, hips are wider. Again, you guys have to be able to have babies. You have to push a baby through the middle of your pelvis. We don't. So you have a different anatomy structure than we do, and it puts a lot of pressure on your guys' knees when you're doing athletic things. So it's very common for females to hurt their knees and have some major injuries. And so like I said, that doesn't get talked about. That's another part of your journey that doesn't get talked about as much. You don't hear it as much, but also too, it's super common. There's so many girls that have knee tears, and also multiple knee tears on top of that, right? Yes. Which is some of the rehab stuff and how that all goes too. But the other part I wanted to bring up with that too is like, I think something that's a reoccurring, especially you playing at the time, the PAC, right? Going into the PAC there, right? Is the PAC is a renowned conference at times, specifically for softball too, obviously as well. Renowned conference, a lot of really good talent. It's really stacked in a lot of different ways. And along with that, right, you play in club ball and you're hitting so well, and again, you think that you're going to go to college, and it's just like, this is just going to continue at this tier, and this is how it's always going to be. But I wanted you to kind of touch on that transition, that as you got into college and transitioning from like club ball to like playing at that level. I know for specifically like Paige was talking about, it's like some people think it's like one level above, but she's like, no, it's like, I felt like she's like, I think she said she felt like she jumped like 4 levels like above, and it's like such a big gap between her club ball and actually playing at that level. So I was gonna let you, because I know that we kind of talked about that a little bit too, if you kind of expand on that for players that are in that transitional period and just like expecting it to be like club ball.
No, it's the craziest jump of competition I've ever felt. So coming in, I was the 3rd catcher. Obviously, I was a freshman, and the 2 catchers that were older than me both had very limited, I don't know if they caught a game the first year. They were both a year older than me. But they had been in the program for a year. Yeah. And been in college for a year. Yeah. And even with, they weren't allowed to be on campus in the fall. They were there for 6 months. That 6 months felt like a canyon to me. Yeah. Where it was insane, the crazy difference between everything, the pace, and I've always said our practices were crazy compared to a regular college practice. Yeah. Comparing notes with some of my friends. Yeah. But because we were very, very structured. We were to the minute. We were very serious about like our hours. We're never going over. And so like we had our practice plan. When I was in travel ball, like I just got told to go somewhere and I did it. This was a structured printout plan. I had to know the plan, know what each drill meant, and I better not be a minute late to my bullpen. If that bullpen says it starts at 4:35 and I'm doing like a fielding drill that I have to leave in the middle of, I better be gone. You know, the pace picks up.
Yeah.
And the pace is just so much faster. And even the difference between like pitching, I know that's one of the common like flaws, but like, I was a good hitter. I know I was a good hitter in high school and travel ball and everything. And I'd faced a good drop ball, or so I thought, in travel ball. My first like fall at bat was off of a lane of otter, whose ball falls 25 feet to the ground. And I think I swung and missed on 3 straight pitches because it was just a crazy amount of break that you're not expecting. And it's because like everybody in college who has been there, they've had a year to like hone on exactly what these coaches who are spending in-depth time with you on. Because like in travel ball, you might see your coaches for like 1 practice a week before the weekend. And even as
it's a lot of games comparatively for softball. You guys play a crazy, if you're someone from baseball listening to this, there's also a major difference about how many games that boys play compared to girls in that way. Because again, on the same side of that is like you guys with the pitching is so different. Like and again, I know this sounds so basic for you, but I want to break this down for the baseball guys, is they're not understanding. It's like, no, like that same pitcher could pitch twice in the same day. She can throw back-to-back days. And so like with it, like, you know, again, like the other day, Riley's sister was playing and we were like, you know, she's played 5 games today. And it's like she's in some tournament and you're like, hold on, what, you played 5 games today? It's like in baseball, 2 max, like, you know, it's just like, you know, again, it's just a very different atmosphere. So I want to put that up that again, when you're saying that, it's like, oh man, they're only doing one practice. Like, but they're playing a crazy amount of games. Like you guys are playing a ton of games. And I know that that's a big thing too as well.
We'd have like a 64 team tournament or something. And bracket would only be Saturday and Sunday. Like, there's going to be a winner by Sunday night.
For sure.
But I think that was one of the crazy things too, just the impact on your body in college. You are tired by the end of the week, and 7 innings of a travel game is not a 7-inning college game. I've played 5 games in a day in travel ball. I've caught every single one. Catching a college doubleheader, I think, was one of the hardest things. Like I've had to do. 14 innings was crazy. Drop ball pitching. Like.
I was gonna say like way more break, and then also too the expectation of like obviously it's still high level in club ball, but at the same time, you know, like as you're mentioning, it's like this girl's. It's way more deceptive. It breaks way harder and later. You know, like the demand from like, you know, the catching is obviously there. And then also too, not to run past this part, because now, you know, you're the graduated, you know, vet alumni, right? But at the same time, like, you know, you have that first year of like, I'm at Stanford and I have to do all the school stuff too. And I'm away from home for the first time. And this is on me to get here. And I have to hit and then I also have weights in the morning. And like, you know, when you're an alumni, you're like, this is how it goes. But, you know, if you transport yourself back to, I'm a freshman, first day on campus, and I'm expected to do all these things, is like, obviously that's a much different, you know, realm, you know? So go ahead and you can expand on some of that stuff.
My very first day of practice, I haven't told many people this. We had a freshman only because this was the year where we were all there at the same time. We ran our run test. I was kicked out because I could not run properly. But we have a freshman only thing, so we're taking our time because it starts at 1:30. This run test finishes at 1:15. And we're only going from the practice football field, which is here, to our locker room to the field. We're taking our time because it's just supposed to be throwing and, you know, basic stuff. Everyone's like, why don't you have pants on? We're like, were we supposed to have pants on? So we start pulling socks on, like throwing stuff, and then we get out there, we're sprinting. It's
freshman stuff.
It's 1:20. It's 128, 129.
Yeah.
They go, where's your throwing bands? Our what?
Yeah.
So we have to sprint back. We're there at like 131, 132. And they go, just so you know, if this was a real practice, you all would have been kicked out since you're late. And I was never, ever late to anything ever again. That was day one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Surprisingly, if you ask any of my team, I showed up to, it got progressively worse as I got older. But as a senior, I think I showed up to 7 a.m. weights at 6:58 most days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was almost a guarantee. We had those teammates.
But you got there.
I got there.
I wasn't late. I was, I just knew how to.
I got there. I put my backpack down. I went over and sat down so we could hit our stretching.
For sure.
But because we have those teammates, like, if they're not there by 6:50, give them a call because they're not up.
They're not up. Yeah.
By the time you realize I'm gonna be late.
Yeah.
I'm late,
Yeah. I'm like,
But we had that, and because my freshman year, I was terrified after that of showing late. I would finish class at 1:30. I'd have practice at 4 for something. I went straight to the clubhouse. I would be ready. I would sit there until it was time to go out.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing too, you don't want to, like, your coaches are, yes, they're getting paid.
Yeah.
But they're there for you, and you don't want to waste their time. You don't want to like disrespect the rules that they've set.
Yeah.
And it was also different in the fact that I wasn't used to someone like being with me for every rep.
Yeah.
Like, I was used to doing stuff at practice.
Like mass fungo.
Like mass fungo.
Yeah.
I don't know if I did a catching drill at practice.
Yeah.
Maybe until I got to college. Maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be
Catchers
like,
get the short. They're like standing there flipping to the coach while they're doing mass fungo. That's their job. Yeah.
They're like, go play third. I'm like, I haven't played third in 10 years. Like, what are you expecting me to do? But we had also, I was like, I got to maximize my chances freshman year. So I was like, I play first.
Yeah.
I hadn't touched first base since middle school. Sorry, Coach Alistair, if you're seeing this now.
But listen, I was just trying. I was putting myself out there.
It's one of those things, like, especially I felt it in college more than travel ball. Like, if I was in travel ball, if I was catching and then DHing the next game, I was fine. Like, sounds good. In college, though, I was like, you need someone out there? I'll take some reps. We had outfield things my sophomore year where someone had to go, and I was like, hey, can I just, during live BP, can I just go stand in the outfield? Just kind of sprinkle that seed in there since I'm looking for some extra time.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was definitely an adjustment, because I did have a big issue I was 2,000 miles away from home.
Yeah.
I had never been apart from my parents longer than a week.
Yeah, I was going to say also just crazy different. If you haven't been up to Stanford area comparatively to Texas, especially like where you were at in Texas, again, it's not like, you're in like this, Dallas is so much different, or Austin is so much different, right? So it's just like having that different dynamic too. It's just like crazy different culture shifts, being away from home. Like, these are things that when you're a kid, or even to a parent that has never did that jump at that age too, where it's like, again, you're not, and then also too, you don't know a whole bunch of people. Like, there's all these different dynamics that you're trying to change, all this change all at the same time, and like crazy different expectations. And I think it's a lot of things that people just like think it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to school, it's gonna be so fun, it's gonna be so exciting. It's like, yeah, but at the same time, there's always burden with the blessing, right? For sure. It
was a very hard adjustment for me. I was used to just being able to walk into the other room, like talk to my dad about anything, talk to my mom about whatever.
Yeah.
And
now you're trying to find an extra 20 minutes to even be able to call them in the first place. You're like, you got weights in the morning, you're at school all the way till practice, you've got to put your pants on, gotta put your pants, gotta get the practice. You get, by the time you get done with practice, you gotta go, if you have dining hours, all this stuff, you gotta go and hit those before that, and then you come home, you get your homework, and you're like, okay, hold on, and I gotta get to bed because I got weights back in the morning again, or like, it's like this trying to find time for social within all of that is tough too.
And it was crazy because I'm not crazy introverted, but I'm also not crazy extroverted. So I'm not trying to go out and do all these things, which is where you meet a lot of people in college.
For sure.
And so I leaned very, very heavily on my teammates to kind of like make friends through them. And I spent a lot of time with some of my upperclassmen just because like we were very similar.
Yeah.
And like we're still friends, like, or we still talk like every week to this day.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where you have to kind of like find your little niche. And you know, I made friends with one of our baseball players in class, like because we both had early morning weights. So we were both dying in the back of the classroom at this 2 p.m. class because we've both been up since 5:30 trying to work out and do our stuff. And it's, you kind of have to just find your moments to have people outside of your sport too, because once we got into season and I was like, I'm seeing everybody 80 hours a week. I kind of want to talk to somebody that's not on the team for just a second.
For sure.
And it's always good to just have like a couple connections that aren't like biased towards you or one way.
For sure.
Like if I talk to my dad about something, my dad's gonna take my side. If I exclusively leave out the details, they're gonna push him somewhere else. But it is just like, it's a jump in every aspect of your life because the level of play is harder, the amount of work you're asked to put in front of people and outside of people is harder. You know, like you're supposed to be doing like 20 dedicated hours a week. Plus, like, it's never like told you have to do this, but if you want a chance, like you got to put in your own time, like find your own spots to hit.
If I'm doing what everybody else is doing, we're all coming to practice to the same amount of things too. And this person's ahead of me. I always think of it like, I always describe it like a race, right? The person in front of you has a pace and you have a pace. If you guys are running at the same pace, you never catch the person in front of you. So I have to run at a faster pace just so I could, you know, have a chance to play. And again, you also think about that because I know I had to do this at one point too, right? You move across the country and you're like, yo, I didn't come all the way over here just to be a cheerleader. Like, you know, like at the same time, like, you know, obviously my dream is to play and all these things. I'm a competitor, right? So you're gonna like, you know, and also in some ways, if you have a good culture, it should be like that, right? You should always be pushing the person in front of you where it's like they can't just hang out and like, you know, again, like, you know, even if you're the worst player on the team, right? You're still within the top 3% of the, you know, everybody in the nation. But at the same time, you know, again, that worst person on the team is like, well, if they're pushing, well, that pushes the person behind them, and then that person pushes the next person. And then from the bottom to the top, you have all this push where at the bottom, you know, everybody always talks about like the leader putting in the most amount of effort, but it's like, yo, if the person on the bottom, right, of your guys' you know, playing time or whatever is not putting in the work, well, it doesn't push the rest of the group either. So you really need, you know, both. And like you said, like, you know, you end up going like, okay, I'm making all these sacrifices. I'm waking up at 5:30 in the morning. I'm living across the nation. You know, I'm not getting, you know, spend time around my family. I'm losing, you know, you can't go home for every holiday. You can't, you know, all these other things, right? Flights don't make sense. Or it's like, if I do go home, I'll be home for 8 hours. I'm going to turn around and fly right back. And then we're trying to take advantage of that practice time or blah, 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 blah. And then, you know, it's like, well, yeah, because I want to play. So I think that that's also a lot of times where people don't understand that, or coaches sometimes can lose sight of that, is that the losing the part around, you know, you're making all these sacrifices, so that's where it can become hard too when you're not playing, where obviously players sometimes are in the back of the dugout and they're, well, you know, I could make that play, or, you know, why am I not playing instead, or X, Y, and Z. But at the same time, you know, it's just natural human nature, right? Like we're making a lot of sacrifices. And again, as you mentioned, and as I'm sure we'll go into right now too, is like, okay, well, now I'm not playing. Right? So I'm over here, I'm young, I'm not playing, right? And then, you know, it's like, should I have went to Texas? Should I have went to here? Should I have done this? Right? Like there's all this inner, you know, talk that starts happening too. So why don't you kind of talk people through too as well? Because another adjustment from club ball to college is a lot of players have never sat in their life. And now all of a sudden they're sitting. They're used to playing an elite level, being middle lineup or whatever, right? And then now all of a sudden they're not playing, and that's a whole adjustment by itself too as well. So why don't you kind of touch on that piece too?
Yeah, that was especially hard for me because I spent that entire fall as well putting in time at PT, rehab, getting cleared, and I put in a ton of work so that when I ran my like conditioning test in the spring, like there was no doubt that I had like done the work, obviously.
For sure.
And so I was one of those people, like I did sit at times in club ball, travel ball, not super constantly, but my junior year I was yanked pretty hard for one of the things. And
Well, and also too, as you started going up, I was going to say this as well. You usually, and typically from that, and with that already, so you start playing on more elite teams, and that's the benefit of playing on more elite club ball teams. You get used to playing with players that are really good, and it kind of gives you a closer connection to college rather than, yeah, I could be a big fish in a small pond and I just never sit. There's a team that you can go play on that you never sit, but at the same time, that's not preparing you for reality, which is like, you should want to be on a team where like, yo, if I don't perform, like they're going to bench me, or they're going to put this other girl in and give her a chance, and you know, X, Y, and Z too. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah, it was always there, and I felt like I always did a pretty good job of kind of rising to that challenge. And
Yeah.
I think like I've played with now All-Americans,
Yeah.
like stuff like that, which was good. Like I was one of those people, like I never sat a game in high school. I
Yeah.
played every game I was physically capable of playing.
Yeah.
After I tore my ACL, I didn't think I tore it, so I asked to go back in. She didn't let me.
Shucks.
I was like, I'm fine, look.
Look, I'm good.
I was like, they said I passed the test, don't worry. I did, but
Yeah.
it was gone.
Yeah, it was,
That's because it wasn't there.
it wasn't there. It's like,
They went in to do the surgery and it was just, there was nothing there. True story. There wasn't even anything to get rid of.
they're like, okay.
But freshman year was a wild experience in terms of experience that I had never hit below 4 in high school.
Yeah.
In travel ball, I used to hit like 8th when I was like, before I could hit the ball past the outfielders.
Yeah, for sure.
But then starting my sophomore year, I rarely hit lower than 6th.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you're kind of used to being that kind of fallback where you're that person, like if it comes to you, like, oh, okay, the lineup's going to keep going because they're just going in. And then we get to freshman year. I know for a fact I am not starting.
Yeah.
Like I didn't see this until we had almost started season,
Yeah.
but I had been shown a video of what my stance looked like catching.
Yeah.
And I thought my knee was fantastic. My butt's on my heel. I'm doing work. I'm at about a 90-degree angle.
Yeah, you still can't get down there.
And I, catching wise, I was not
Yeah.
anywhere close. And hitting wise, I thought I had a chance to get some opportunities and make a thing of it. But I do remember this so clearly because I remember, my dad had said, he was, so happy that I said this. But this is either our first or our first 2 games my freshman year. We had played San Diego State and Middle Tennessee, I think. But San Diego State, we win that game 1-0 or 2-1, and it was gut punches throughout. That was my first college at bat, and I struck out in 3 or 4 pitches off of a girl throwing a 70-mile-an-hour rise ball.
Yeah.
I had never seen a 70-mile-an-hour rise ball in my entire career.
Yeah.
And we had played Middle Tennessee, go 8 innings, walk it off in extras, it was a wild, crazy game. And I remember telling my dad after, I knew I didn't play or I only had 1 at bat, but I had fun, just being there for that.
Yeah.
And looking back at the end of my freshman year, I did not keep that same thought process throughout.
Yeah. But
it was one of those things where, at the start, it's really because your eyes are big, wide, things, freshman. And I had, I think, 3 pretty good at bats my first weekend of freshman year. I didn't get a hit, but they were good enough to where I was on deck in another game before the game had ended. And I was like, okay, I'm not there yet, but I'm creeping my way in. And then it happens in another game where we go and I, you could have, if this was reality television or something, I would just been cut the cameras, it's okay, you can take it off, I'm good. I think I struck out 4 times in a week and a half span. I was I'm okay. But it was hard because you always want your first career, whatever.
yeah, for sure.
And I had seen my friends, we've been going through this thing together as freshmen.
Yeah.
There were only 3 of us that could travel that year.
Yeah.
They both get their hit on their very first college at bat. And I'm okay, well I didn't, but I'm about to get it, and then I don't get it the next one, and then it kind of starts like peeking in the back of your head, like, well, if you don't get one soon, you know, you're not gonna go back out there again. And it was kind of like fighting that little back talk, and suddenly I was almost scared to go up to the plate. Because I didn't want to fail so badly, because I've done all this stuff, like I'm 2,000 miles away from home, like I had a different offer where I might have been like, it might have gone differently, like the opportunities could have been different, like everything. And the most clear memory of my not most clear, but we were at Washington, and I think we get swept at this point in the year, or win one game, something like that. Gabby Plain is throwing. I've seen Gabby Plain pitch since I was in high school. Like, I know it's like a diabolical thing. Suddenly, like, you know, we're struggling. So she starts plucking people off the line, like off the bench. Like, almost everybody is going in. And then I thought to myself, I don't want to go in right now. And then that was when I was like, oh no, what's happened to me? Because I was like, I'm so freaked out by this. I don't want a chance to hit off of the All-American. That would be such a cool story to say, like, I had an at-bat off of her.
For sure.
And that was kind of the turning point for me, where I was like, okay, I need to get my life together a little bit. And we end up going to regionals, and I kind of found my way into my slot. Like, I was catching bullpens. Like, that was what I was doing my freshman year to make the team better. We had 6 pitchers, and we had our starting catcher, and our other catchers had to be ready to pinch hit, DP. Like, her role kind of got shifted in throughout. So, like, if somebody was going to be ready, like, I had to go catch them. And I was doing that through the year, but it was after I realized, okay, like, I'm probably not going in again. I have to be doing this well. And so I worked on how I could read spin. I worked on like what feedback I could give if I noticed anything on a motion that was different. So make sure like we're not tipping anything. And that was what I had to do to like make a contribution that year. And obviously it's not what I wanted. Like, I thought I was gonna be a freshman All-American.
100%. And that's what I was gonna bring in, and kind of like to fast forward to that mindset that literally you're talking about, right? Is you naturally get in like, okay, well, you get into, okay, I have to do things outside of practice. I have to train and do things outside of then. I need to get better if I want to do that. I have to find a way, something to differentiate myself and all this other stuff. So the competition, you know, you feel that. Well, then also too, then you start going into like, well, your summers and how you're training outside of college and all those things. And then, you know, again, you came your sophomore summer, right? Summer?
Between sophomore and junior.
Yeah. So in that sophomore summer, so that kind of like fast forwarding into like that sophomore summer where you started coming in the train, and we got this beautiful, you know, swing that we have going on here.
I don't recognize that. That girl has long hair. I don't.
Different girl.
Different girl.
So yeah, kind of talk about that and with the mindset behind with that, because again, it commonly happens. It's actually pretty interesting. Is like generally that's when we see a lot of players is literally like at least after 1 year, right? It's not before they go right into college. It's generally like they go to college and all of a sudden they hit this reality check where it's like, yo, I batted 190 last year, or I batted, you know, 210 last year. It's just 0, you know, all of a sudden, and then you're like, okay, these things need to change. What kind of for you, what made that switch of being like, okay, you know, we need to go and, you know, I want to train, you know, and change that, kind of talk through that.
So for lack of a better word, I sucked my freshman year. I was booty. I had 8 at-bats, 0 hits, like 4 strikeouts.
Yeah. Not even 10 at-bats for the record, but you know.
Not a great stat line. Not a great stat line, not a good year. So my sophomore year, I was like,
just to be fair though, that could have been like, like in baseball, that would have been like 2 games you went over. It's like, you don't suck, it's just, you know.
Like now, I'm like, okay, you went over like 2 games, whatever.
So what? Get over it. But at the time,
so we go into sophomore year, I had changed my swing a lot because I was, you didn't see what freshman year's monstrosity was.
Yeah.
I was like in a deep squat, like not moving.
Yeah.
But so I tried to like get better and do stuff my sophomore year, and I went through my typical thing of changing my swing 2 weeks within season.
Yeah.
I was super squatty, and then I was like, I had finally gotten my first hit and wanted to, you know, do all this stuff.
Did you call for the ball? You're like, can I take that?
No,
I'll take this ball home with me.
I was like, it was one of those games where it was like 17-2 and you finally get in, and I was like,
Hey.
I'm okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
So I immediately get to start off of Duke and immediately get, like, I have like go over 3, like get pulled after that.
Yeah.
But then it was hitting off of Duke when I was like, okay, this ain't working.
Yeah.
So I like switched my swing a little bit, and then it started working. I got in, I had my first like big home run, big double, like that kind of stuff, and everything's chugging along.
Yeah.
And then, oh wait, this was at Oregon too.
Oregon.
I hate James Anderson. That year I did. This was like, I had been on a streak, like I had hits, I think every game up until this point.
Yeah.
And then I go over for the first time, like since I had like gotten the starting job at the DP spot, and got heckled pretty bad during the game. Thank you, Oregon fans. I immediately got pulled the next game, and I was like, I had like a 12-game hit streak or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was like, it was probably like 7 or something.
Yeah.
But I was like a long time, and I was like,
that little fear
I'm-
kind of creeps in the
Yeah,
back end,
it's
like, oh, so if I don't get a hit,
if I'm not
going to
perfect,
play.
I'm out. And then it was okay. I was in and out for the rest of the year, and then by the time we get to, you know, we make the World Series and everything, like I'm pretty much out. Like I had a throw off at bat against Jordy Ball, but like it was one of those things where like I didn't know I was going up until the lineup card was already being like shared with the umpire. And
for sure.
They're like, why aren't you ready? I was like, I didn't know I was going.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was that at bat when I was like, okay, my swing's not cutting it, because I wanted to be able to compete off of like her level of pitching, because she was killing it. Like, she has a great drop ball, and I was like, this isn't cutting it anymore.
To be fair, I think Jordy's got a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? So
that was the only one I saw, because I just kept whiffing at it.
she didn't even have to, she didn't go.
No, it was 3 drop balls. It was all I got.
All right, cool, I'm going home.
Because that was when she couldn't spin the rise bill at that. Because she had all I saw was the drop ball. That's all she needed.
Yeah.
She probably like she threw like a shutout or something. But no. So that was kind of like, okay, I did better.
Yeah.
But that's not it. I want to hit for power. I want to do all the things. And so I started doing stuff on my own for most of the summer. And then thank you quarter system, because that's the only reason we were able to do this.
Yeah.
I got one of your TikToks on my thing, and I was like, okay, someone needs to tell me what's wrong, so this would be helpful. And it was just a thing of like, I needed to find something, because what I had currently wasn't working. Yeah. And okay, I tried it my way, like I made my own adjustments. Like I know I'm pretty smart, like I can come up with a lot of stuff, but you know, I can read pitches, but I can't exactly explain why when I feel perfectly like on time and everything, like it's not going. Yeah. And you know,
I thought I got that, and it's not.
I thought I have it. Like I'm looking at these videos, like I'm matched up like perfect, like looking at the barrel, and then like it's a dribbler to the third baseman, because like looking back now, like I'm flying over here.
Off. All the stuff.
It's crazy, but it was just one of those things where I was like, someone has more knowledge than me, I can always learn from that. We've always said that at camps and stuff. Like I take it from Coach Alistair. She was like, if you can take like the best hitters can take a little bit from each person and make their own adjustments to it to kind of like create their own swing. And I was like, I need some outside adjustments to come up with something better. Yeah, no, and then, you know, again, along with that, why don't you kind of cover too, we'll just like, say like your first day, like the eval's pretty heavy, right? Like this is the eval day, right? So, but yeah, like your eval, like, you know, what did you feel like that process was like, other than me going, this isn't great, let me tell you what about this. But, you know, what'd you say about kind of like the eval process? So I knew it was gonna be more than I thought it was. Yeah. But I definitely did think it was gonna be like oh, like, you're just missing XYZ. Like, you're
Yeah.
fine. You can go back now.
Yeah.
It turns out I moved horrifically. I thought it was just really cool to, like, see. I'm very, like, math, science brain. Like,
Yeah,
I
for
get
sure.
that. So to see it on a screen with, like, my force distribution and, like,
Yeah.
you're not working because you're trying to go like this
Yeah.
instead of, like, pushing and working
Yeah,
through the
creating torque,
ground,
yeah.
you know? Like, because I love, like, I had just taken a physics class, so too, I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
give
you go
me
to
the-
you go to
give me the-
Stanford.
give-
I think everybody's gonna put together that
you know,
a
like,
little smart.
like
kicking
I got the torque, like I know what torque means.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
and because it's, you can always try to piece together stuff. Like, I would try to figure out who I was swinging like and try to mimic.
Mimic their swings.
But mimicking only goes so far when you can't figure out what the difference is between the two.
Well, and also who you might be mimicking might be completely different than you, right? That might be your favorite player, but it's like, for example, you like, some people are really gonna watch like Jordy or Paige or, you know, Riley or whoever, right? You can go and pick somebody. It's like, but again, you guys are all going to have different attributes, different, you know, range of motion in your pelvis. You got different body types, just all these different things, different positions, different athleticism, like too as well. And you know, and again, like you're also like on the other side of that, like you're going to be much more naturally strong, right? Where like, you know, Riley, for example, she's super athletic, but at the same time, she's got to really work for strength, right? So it's like this like trade-off, and everybody's different. Where Paige on the other side of that was like, she was really strong, but like your body just like, again, like actually the weight room was really actually messing her up, and we had to make a bunch of adjustments that way, right? So it's like, it's different and individualized obviously for like what you need and what's going to be best for you, rather than just going, oh yeah, let me just mimic this swing and then I'll be.
If your T-spine mobility is really bad,
yeah,
mimic my swing, you're good.
That's
I've
good.
gotten it confirmed like 8 times. It's so bad.
Yeah.
They're like, we're doing cat cows. They're like, you can't go any. No, I cannot. That's as far as
very
it goes.
associated. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, and then you know, I think also with that, right, the other thing is though, is once you have that, right, I think also a lot of people get this impression that, okay, once I do figure out, oh, I'm gonna be able to fix it like this. It's like, no, the evaluation is just like going to the doctor and you found out you're sick, right? That, we can do that today, but the process of actually making those changes takes time.
Yeah.
And I think that your story, like, you know, mimics that too as well. It's like, okay, now I know what I'm working on, but also there's a frustration within that as well, because I know what I want to do and I know what I need to change, but it's not like tomorrow, you know. And I know that also is, you know, was part of your, you know, process as well, as like, you know, your junior year was making those adjustments, and also too fighting out of perceptions of, you know, that have already been made, right? Which, to be fair, right, you've had 2 years and you're playing, and they kind of get an idea of who you are as a player, and they try to, you know, they kind of fit you in, and you got to break through that ceiling and show like, hey, no, I could do this, I can, you know, be this type of player, and all those things too as well. And so I know you went through that a lot as your junior year, but I want to spend some time on your senior year, because, you know, it was, I know that again, on the end of the day, like as a competitor, you're like, well, I could have done this better, and I could have done that better, and I could have done these things. But at the same time, you know, as a little fangirl over here, when I was watching you play, I was like, man, I was excited for you, right? Just because not only how much work that you put in and all those other things too, but also too, it being your senior year, you having these opportunities, and then also too, you ended up really like leading one of the best offenses during that time, especially. And again, just like any team, I think we get this perception that it's like, for example, let's say we take like Atwood or somebody like that, right? It's like, well, again, for example, especially towards the end of the season, she was really cold. Like she was having a really hard time, where at other parts of the season, she's helping carry the offense, right? So I think there's this ebbs and flows that we get this idea that it's like, well, I need to be great all the time, always, you know, and this is what role I need to play within this team, rather than the whole point I'm on a team is like, so we can pick each other up, and this person's hot when this person's cold, and then this person gets hot, and that person's like, and then someone just kind of stays generally steady the whole time. They're not too hot, they're not too cold, but they're just a catalyst for the offense. But why don't you kind of just talk about, like, you know, throughout your senior year of, you know, getting to kind of see that work, you know, come to like fruition as well, though.
Yeah. That summer between junior and senior year, I was pressing hard, because I was unhappy with the amount of opportunities I had my junior year. I thought I was gonna have a step up for my sophomore year.
For sure.
And while technically playing better, I had less opportunities.
For sure.
So like I played in a summer league that whole time. I kind of refound who I wanted to be.
Yeah. And you came in a lot that summer too. Obviously, as you mentioned before, you came in like almost right before you went back to school.
Yeah.
So we're doing most of things remotely. And then that summer, yes, you did play, but I saw you, I think like 4 or 5 times as much as you did. I did the year before.
You saw me like 4 or 5 times. I flew out during the school year. I was out a lot.
Made some adjustments for sure.
And
even got in trouble a couple times. You know what I'm saying? Got in trouble a couple times. Like, hey, you weren't supposed to leave campus. Well, I'm sorry.
I didn't miss class.
I had 12 hours, so I left. I got a session and I flew back, and I made it for class.
And I
didn't
showed
miss nothing.
up to class.
Yeah, I was there.
River was there. She can attest to it. I was there.
Yeah, I might have left, but I got back.
I was there when I was supposed to be on my off day.
Yeah.
But
oh, and also too, before we move on to the senior year, because I think the junior year shows a little bit of character and who you are on the other side of this too, right? Is your junior year, I came up right before PAC tournament. It was against, you guys were playing Oregon. Yeah.
Once again.
Back to Oregon.
Guess who didn't play?
Yeah. So I came up and I came up, I'm watching you guys play, but at the same time, as Stanford often does, right? You got some good rain that came in at the same time. And it was cold. You remember? It was cold, raining. I think it might have almost been sleet. Like, I mean, the rain was flying sideways. It was freezing outside. There was nobody else outside. And all of a sudden I get a text. I'm sitting in the hotel room. I'm like, oh, there's no games today. They canceled all the games. I'm like, oh, there's nothing going on. And then, I get a text from Allie like, hey, can we hit? Now, okay, here's the thing. If you're picturing, oh yeah, Stanford, they got this indoor, it's so nice, all these other things. No. Stanford has a cover, and it's open to the outside, so there's water. It's flying in there. It's all the things.
We were in the middle cage. It was okay.
Oh yeah, we're trying to avoid the edges of the cage, and it was cold. She showed up in a puffer. it was cold out there. I was freezing, she texted me and she's like, hey, like I want to hit, and I'm like, all right, well if you want to hit, like we're gonna hit. So anyway, so we went in there and we're hitting, because this is one of the stories I bring up when some of the older athletes, or someone's like, oh, athletes today, they're not gritty, or X, Y, and Z, or something like, not in my experience, like the girls that I've been like, especially like the girls be trying to get it in, is like, that was one of the stories where it's like, we're hitting, and it's like, again, there's nobody outside. This rain's flying sideways through the thing. Like I said, it was cold. And, and we hit, and then like I said, then you went into your summer, and again you played summer ball, which again, another thing is normally, what people don't get this as well, if you're baseball, you wouldn't understand this, is girls typically don't play during the summer, especially if they're on an established team and they're not doing transfer portal, they're not doing any of this stuff. So you going to play during the summer also was like, I want to get better. I want to have some at-bats. And also, you didn't just take that opportunity going, okay, well, I'm playing during the summer, so I'm not going to also get training in. You did training, and you played summer ball. And like I said, you flew out during in the beginning. So that was also, too, again, it wasn't like an excuse to not train or any of that, because there's a lot of people that will go play summer ball and then like they just don't train. They just go play a couple games, and I'm like, that's great, you just did another season, but you didn't increase your skills at all. And so you did a mixture of both. So I wanted to put that too as well. Again, is all these adjustments and things that you learned and how you train differently going into that senior year too as well.
Yeah, it was like a huge change, because I had brought this up in my exit meeting for junior year. I was like, I think I maybe have 150 at-bats in my career. Mm-hmm. Most starters get that in a season. I'm trying to compete with a full year starter for my starting job. Yep. We both weren't at the position last year, but she had 150 at-bats to my 50. Yeah. So I have to make up that experience for sure somewhere, and if I can play
and break catching, out, you're not transferring to another school. Mm-hmm. I got the same coaching staff that has an idea of who I am and how I'm going to play and all these other things too. But if you also look though, is again, I mean, we don't even have to go through the numbers. We just do it by aesthetically, like just looking from where you are to like the end of the year. It's like, if you flash this Allie, right, to you at Oregon, all right? We got our licks back at Oregon at the same time, all right? You played really well, like going into regionals there. And we'll, just to give a little teaser kind of going forward, but is that, you became a much different player. You went from a player that, like, again, like you said, you're just fighting to get just basic at bats, right? And to give yourself credit, because you haven't given yourself a ton of credit today when we even talked about your senior year, is that, again, not knowing even at the beginning of the season, as you mentioned, right? Like, am I going to even start to? You started out like crazy hot. I'm like, yo, this girl might be like Cody. I remember Cody even saying that, like, man, she might have hit more homers than all our girls. Like some of them combined. Really started out crazy your senior year. So I just wanted to also let you kind of step into that too, of like what that, like the senior, year, kind of seeing all that come together. Because you're still, like, as you mentioned, right? You could still continue to get better, and a lot of that is also just mentally, like even the things you challenged, like you said, is that mid-year, I'll let you kind of get to it, but you talked about like there was even still mental things in the middle of the year of like starting to press and all these things, and you think, oh, when I'm a senior, none of these things are going to affect me. I'm going to be, I'm an alumni now, all the things, but it's like, no, you're still a human being, right? And now you start playing like, I don't want to lose it, right? Can I keep this up? Can I, can I keep this pace? Can I keep doing what I'm doing? I remember I'd be out hitting really hot, and I'm just like, I don't think I could be able to hold this pace, which is a terrible mindset, by the way. That's also why I'm not playing anymore. But anyways, why don't you kind of go into your senior year and kind of how that all kind of played up and the story behind some of that.
So senior year was a different type of look for me because I kind of knew where I stood. Yeah. Whereas like the years before, I was behind a Gold Glove catcher. Yeah. I knew exactly where I stood in that realm. Yeah. I was 2, whatever. Yeah. This time I was like, okay, I know they think hitting wise, I'm number 2 option wise for catching, but I think they know that I'm pretty good behind the plate, but they haven't seen it in a game. Yeah. And it was kind of fighting rep wise with myself. Like practice wise, the reps are all the same, but then we get to scrimmages and I'm on a team, we had 3 catchers, so it was, I'm on a team with our other catchers, so we're splitting time while the person that I'm pretty sure I'm competing against is getting all the time on the other team. Yeah. Which, that's kind of just like a mental thing of like, okay, I'm not choice 1, let me show them why I should be choice 1. Yeah. And that fall, like, we changed some more stuff because I was like, okay, we're close, but this isn't it. Like, I'm still like locked up, like, because I was really high my junior year batting wise, and then we, cranked it down because I was like, I don't think I can get back here from like up top. Yeah. And if you were listening and not watching, she's talking about, she's just talking about like her batting stance. We made a bigger change that in her junior year, her hands were like above her head, kind of like troutish. And then you went, we started doing for spacing and things with you, we kind of put it in front of you, like almost like if you were hugging a tree is the give, some change. If you're listening, Some Stanford humor. Yeah, for sure. But it was kind of just like pushing again, just, I don't care about anything that's happened before. I don't care what's going to happen next. Like, this is it. So like, if I need to make a change to get on the field, I'm going to make a change to get on the field because I knew with me, there likely was no extra year barring injury, barring like stuff. Like this was it. So like my like swan song was gonna be a good one. Like, and we get into the like spring training, basically the beginning of like winter camp, and I feel okay. Like I'm hitting all right, and then I know I'm feeling good catching. Like I've thrown people out, like we're scrimmaging, we're doing this stuff, and I hit a home run like the week before we're about to start. I think that's also when the story we were talking about earlier where you flew out for like 12 hours. Wasn't that at that point in the year? Oh, yeah. Yeah, right? That was right before, that was actually 4 days before that hit. Yeah, I was going to say, because I remember at that point that you were like, again, and again, to give the timeline here, and you probably
obviously would know like more. I just remember you having like, I got like 12 hours. So it's like I could fly out, train, jump right back on the plane, and I got to go to class.
Yes.
And so like I knew that, you know, we kind of did that because again, you were fighting for that spot, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna make it, you know,
Yeah.
you're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen. You know, we're gonna hit this window before, you know, with that. And I remember you telling me about that home run. That's what kind of triggered it in my head.
So I hit that, and then I'm like, okay, I think I've made my case, but I have no idea where I stand.
Yeah.
And then we are getting set to play our opener against Long Beach. I'm mentally, like, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to play. I'm thinking I'm coming off the bench because that's how my entire career's been. I've never been an opening day starter. Like, I know how it goes. And then she reads the lineup, and I'm catching. I'm hitting like 8th, whatever.
You're like, you can bat me 15th if they'll let me hit.
Like,
I'm in.
I'm like, if I said, you could have hit me flex. Like, I could have been the flex. I don't care. I was starting.
Let's go.
And that game gets rained out. So I'm like, okay.
So am I still starting?
So then I was like, because, you know, we've talked about it before. We're like, she'd be fine, like, switching it out. So I'm like, okay, was that my game?
Yeah.
And then now it's our other catcher's turn.
Yeah.
And then she reads the lineup for the next game. And I'm still starting. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, like I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
And like it goes okay. And then I'm like, okay, so then the next game, like we're gonna switch off. It's okay. I'm still starting. And I'm like, okay, like we're getting a roll. And I end up starting the whole weekend. And we had switched out when we were run rolling a team. And it was like late in the game. And I was still hitting, but you know, we switched our other catcher, and I was like, oh, okay, like I did make my point. Like I did do the work, and it's showing. But okay, like she's still there. Like I can't let go. Like I got a taste. I can't leave. Like
for sure.
Because I mean, there were very few weekends in my entire 3-year career up to that point where I had started
for sure
every game in a weekend.
For sure.
And so I was like,
it was a big moment.
I want to keep doing it.
For sure.
And then our next weekend, like it goes okay. Like, you know, I'm starting to like move up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the big boom for the year was at Arizona.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I had just.
You had hit a homer though before that though, right? No, that was your first homer of the season.
Good little stretch right there.
Yeah, no, it was like I was about to say, I was like, I remember it was like, I'm like, she had another one. Like, dang. Yeah.
So we had put together. I had just gone like. We no-hit Davis right before we play U of A that night. I go 0 for whatever. I was like, fine.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things
we
where
talked,
you're trying to...
I think we talked that night too. I remember you sending me video when you were at Arizona.
Oh, this was later. I know what game you're talking about.
All right. Yeah, different Arizona game. Go ahead.
So we play U of A that night, like immediately after Davis. And Arizona kind of is just like up, and it's the bottom of the 7th, and it's one of those situations where it's like 2 outs, it's whatever. Like this was my 3rd at bat, I think, off of nets, and she throws a screwball, which she doesn't throw like super often, and I was like, a drop ball's coming. Like I haven't hit a drop ball well, like yet, because we hadn't seen like a crazy drop ball yet, and I was just like, and it was just there. And because if you watch them side by side, like the pitch before and the pitch that we got, they're almost in the exact same spot. Just I can tell one of them's going like this and the other one's going down.
Yeah, different spin.
And I just remember like I swing and I was like, oh, that's what it feels like. Because I hit a home run. It's been like 8 months since like a live game home run. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, like I'm kind of on it. And then go to bed, like, because we end up losing. So I'm peeved. Like, I always need a detox after a loss. Like I'm just like, because I think that might have been our first loss on the year too. So I was of course.
Yeah, you guys were playing really well.
I was just like, all right, whatever. And so, because we had Texas, who was #1 at the time, the very next morning. Yeah. And so I was just like, gotta lock in, because I know I have that history. Like, I'm not thinking about it because they're not thinking about it when they're coaching. Like, no one cares. Yeah. And like, it was just one of those things where it was just like, I've wanted to actually play in the game against them and like contribute since we had, like met up. We've met up, I think 4 or 5 times
Yeah.
in my time.
For sure.
But this was like the first time I knew I was going to be like starting and doing stuff.
Yeah, and they had recruited you and the whole
Yeah,
thing, right?
like you
It's
want
yeah,
the.
for sure.
It's like you play your old. You always want to like.
Yeah.
Like I was never officially there, but it was one of those things where it's like.
For sure.
You kind of wanted to be like, well, you could have.
Yeah, you could have. You know.
Like I decided to not go there, but like
For sure.
you could have.
Yeah, for sure.
But so we had done like our scout and everything like we normally do, but I had been the night before watching every extra base hit off of their pitchers because I just wanted to like, okay, what's their like kind of motive and everything. But I just remember stepping into the batter's and I just felt like a weird wave of calm, like in those stretches where it's like I can hit anything. People are like, what are you thinking? It's like, I'm not.
Yeah.
That's when you're like, good. The
Yeah.
second anybody can tell you, if I start thinking it's not good.
Yeah.
But I just remember because we were visitors and this is the first inning, we like want to come out big. It's 2 outs. And I just remember like, I hit it and I was like, that felt good. So then I start rounding it and then I realized it's out. And then I was like, oh, okay, like we just took the lead. It's whatever. Like they're the number 1 team in the country. Like it's okay. Like we got to keep going. And then the game's progressing. And then I get back up the second time. And River like cranks a double, legs it out. And then it's 2 outs again. And this is my first time batting 4th the entire year.
Yeah.
Because that was the game where I got moved up.
Yeah. Let's not run past. Hadn't even been in the lineup. Wasn't getting any at bats any of the years. Now all of a sudden we bat in 4-hole.
Yeah. So,
against the number 1 team in the country.
So-
oh yeah, first at bat I hit a homer. Oh yeah, second at bat I'm coming up again.
Yeah, so I'm coming up again, and then it's Kavan this time, and Kavan is really good. She was undefeated against us, I believe, in 3 games. And so I was like, okay, I want my lick back. Like, Kavan's gotten me out twice. Like, I gotta, get on. And we have like a good little at bat, and it was one of those foul balls that's straight back where you're like, oh, I think I'm on it.
Yeah.
And then that home run, I think of almost any home runs on that pitch that I had hit, was one of the first times where I was like, that's gone, and I knew it the second I swung. And that made it 4-2 because they had just come back.
We were at Mary Nutter. We were at Mary Nutter at the time. Me and Taylor are sitting there behind, on the outfield. I like to sit in the outfield when I'm watching a lot of the games. And I'm sitting out there, and you hit one, and I'm like, and then someone around us was like, she hit, it was either Taylor or somebody was like, she hit a home run. I'm like, oh yeah, I know. And he's like, no. She hit another one. And I'm like, she hit another one? Like, what do you mean? So I was like, yeah, it was a great,
Yeah.
we were like, jumping and juiced up for you too. So I was in straight fangirl mode for sure.
That was probably
Yeah.
like, we joked about it, Alyssa and I, Alyssa Houston, one of our pitchers. We were like, that was the game where it was kind of like, oh, she's for real about this being the year, like
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was kind of my moment of like, oh, okay, like I'm onto something, you
Yeah.
know, like I'm good.
Yeah.
Then of course immediately after I go 0-3 against Colorado State.
Yeah. So
That's how it goes.
Yeah. Then I think I just hit bombs. So then I start trying to actually hit bombs.
Yeah.
You know.
Then like we play, and then like that's just how it goes. Like have a bad day, make
Yeah.
some adjustments.
Yeah.
We play U of A the next day. I still go 0 because like I got like robbed on 2 liners or whatever.
Yeah.
But like that's just one of those things where it kind of just goes.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, okay, like I'm feeling this thing, like the work's kind of paying off, but like can't let up. Like we have a long flight because we go play Georgia Tech the next week, and like that's
Yeah.
a 6-hour plane ride. Like
Yeah.
you got to stay locked in, be good to go, stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I feel like Arizona was when I was just like, okay, what I want to do my senior year, I can do. And yeah, that was kind of like the point of like
Yeah.
my little mark on the
Yeah.
season where it was one of those games where it's like, okay, like
Yeah.
did
It went from like, I think I can do it to like, I know I can do it. And it's like your belief system changes, and then too, but like I said, I know that the other part comes in, and I wanted you to share this part too as well, right? Which is like, okay, I'm playing really good, and I start hitting all these homers. I'm like really hot in this span of time, right? And I'm batting 4-hole. I'm doing everything I want to do. But then, in certain ways, right, and maybe from the faith side, it's like you can start to idolize that position, right? Like, I'm grateful for what I have, but now I think one of the pastors would like to say, I got bamboozled by the blessing, which then I want to hold on to it, more than, anything else, right? It's just like, it's more about, I want to continue to feel this way, and I never want to not hit 4-hole, and I just want to, I've worked so hard for this, and now I don't want to lose it. But when you play from that place of like scarcity, and you start, just like when you had those, when you weren't playing before, right? It's like, well, if I'm not perfect, I'm not going to play. It's like those things start to slip back in, right? Which is like, an over 3, or man, like I hammered that ball, but yeah, they did catch it, and it's like, yeah, okay, I haven't got a hit in a couple games, and and then all of a sudden you start, doing that thing as well. So why don't you kind of talk about kind of that period too as well, because towards the end you got hot again, right? So you had that little middle, like 3/4 of the way through the season, right, where you hit that little rut. Kind of talk about that little period too.
Yeah, because I was really hot in like that beginning stretch, and then it felt like it's one of those things where you're so hot that hitting normally feels like you're really cold.
Yeah.
And then I was hitting normally, like I think I was still hitting like 3 something.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, I could be doing better. Like I was so hot like 2 weeks ago. Why am I not doing that all the time?
For sure.
I haven't hit a home run.
Yeah.
In
You
like a month.
start like undercutting yourself.
I'm just like, okay, well, I did hit 3 more doubles. Like, I don't know why I'm not focusing on that. Like, I'm bringing in runs. Like,
for sure. Because I can also tell with you guys when you get in those spots, because when you're texting me when you are hitting well, and then you're going, yeah, but I still kind of feel off, and I'm like, all right, hold on. Like I'm trying to, like, let me make sure we don't, because it's a slippery slope. You start undercutting yourself even when you are playing well. It's like, okay, well, even when I played well, it's like, well, if I don't go 4 for 4, 4 homers, then I'm not playing, and then I've even had players again like hit a homer and they're like, yeah, but I didn't really catch it all that clean. I'm just like, okay, come on, like you hit a homer, like let's go, like like you gotta also celebrate too as well. But again, this was kind of the start of some of those things, right? Where it's like you said, you still were being successful, but the mindset starts to shift a little bit of like, oh, like I don't feel as good. This isn't X, Y, and Z, and some of that as well,
It turned into like I need to hit right now instead of like I want to keep doing good. Instead of like I want, it turned into like I need. And once it's like I need to be doing this, it's like oh, that's not
needs about
where we need
tough
to
word.
go. And it was just really weird because it felt like the rug pulled out from under me. Yeah. And then it.
Meanwhile, at the time, let me just put this as context. The girl's batting like 400 and something. Like it was not like she was not like again maybe okay sorry it might have been maybe 380. Okay, I'm sorry, right? But, so she was crushing it. At the also I think 2 weeks or something before that, I think you were like top something with like, okay, if you take the slappers out, they don't count. We'll take the slappers and throw them to the side. If we go batting average, pure batting average, you were probably like top 5 in like batting average just generally across the board. That wasn't a slapper. And she's like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel as good. I'm like, bro, come on, like let's go. Like you're doing great. Like you're crushing it.
I'd go like 2 for 4 and I'd be like, but did you see this grounder that I missed? Like that's not right.
That's the hard part is when you're batting such a high batting average, it's like, yo, like if I go 1 for 3, my batting average goes down.
Yeah.
And if I'm looking at that number that's on the scoreboard every single time I come up, when I'm in club ball, that's again usually not the case, right? You got this massive scoreboard that says, here's your batting average. They're announcing me when I'm at the plate, right? All the things. I'm the 4-hole, I'm this, or whatever. They're announcing me before the game. You have all this, worship and status and all these things that come with this, being in this spot, playing in these big stadiums, all the stuff that you don't think about when you're, club ball and you're playing on a backfield in a tournament or something, right? But yeah, with that is, a lot of girls, especially in club ball, ask them, I'm like, hey, what's your batting average right now? And then like they think tournament to tournament. They don't even think about or game to game. So when you guys start tracking it over like a real season and you guys, like everyone, you guys like know your numbers, where like Paige, like our senior year had no idea of her numbers. She'd be like, oh, I have that many? Oh, like, oh, thanks. But where she had a big thing for her because she was kind of doing the same thing as she made the turn her senior year, where it's like the whole year she was like very like, I want to enjoy this. This is my last go around. Let me enjoy. And so again, instead of getting in that place of need, it was a place of like gratitude and thankfulness, and like I'm just happy to get this opportunity. And that's a different shift that a lot of times, like when you're playing really well, if you slip into the place of questioning yourself and all these things, can I uphold this and all those things, which I did the same exact thing, is it can spiral you for a minute.
I will forever stand by the law of looking at your stat line as the worst thing you can do for your mental health.
Yeah.
I think I started looking at it because I thought I was close to like matching all of my stuff from like everything before.
For sure.
And then right around that time was when it was seeing it on every single scoreboard, and then it doesn't go your way, and then you see it like start ticking down 5 points, and you're like, oh wait, that's not what I meant to do.
Yeah.
And
you said before we started, you started talking about like you're also getting like the AUSL stuff. You start getting some of these outside, influences, right? That if you don't know how to manage those, and it almost slides into like people start expecting you to perform at this level, right? Which is like, instead of it being like, oh, like, for example, like, wow, like so excited for you. And then it's like, no. They almost get this like, you're the 4-hole. We kind of expect you to hit everybody in, or we expect you to show up in the big game. We expect you to do some of this stuff. And that's something that, again, a lot of people, it's a different struggle too as well. It's a struggle to sit on the bench. It's a struggle to be the 4-hole. It's a struggle to, start, like, everything has its own burden that you have to learn to, like, adjust with too as well,
Yeah, I had gotten that email about just if I was interested in AUSL, I think right before Virginia Tech. And then I was like, oh, like, I'm kind of starting to catch some notice and everything. And then I probably start the worst stretch. And again, we had this conversation, but it was like, it felt so much worse than it actually was.
For sure.
Because for me, like, I'm finally here, like, I'm doing all this stuff, like, I'm finally starting. I've started every game. I've never done that to this point in a season. I'm like doing all this stuff. I'm hitting fourth. I'm hitting well. Like, I've matched all my career stats already and passed them. Yeah. Like, okay, what do I do now? And then we start with Virginia Tech, and I like pooped the bed. Like, it was so bad. We have runners at the end of the, like, it's the situation you want. It's late in the game. Yeah. Runners on second and third, 2 outs. I strike out on a pitch that's gonna hit me. Like, I whiff hard. Yeah. And this thing was about to hit me in the back leg. And I just didn't have it. And then the next game, I'm still thinking about the last game, even though I need to clear it, and then I still do bad. Like, you work a thing to make it, and then it's magnified by the fact that we lose a tight game. Yeah. We had not lost, I think, a 1-run game. Yeah. Up into that point. Yeah. So we lose that game, and then the next game, we lose a 1-run game. Yeah. And something that you don't take in context at the time, though, beginning of the season, you guys weren't playing the competition that you're now all of a sudden playing, right? Yes. So you're playing, again, Virginia Tech is good. Like, Texas obviously is good, right? Like, Arizona, they're good, right? Like, so you have these teams where it's like, you in your brain, you're like, well, at the beginning of the season, I'm just doing all these things. It's like, but like, it's like, it's like saying like, well, outside of SEC play or outside of these things or in my midweek games or all these things, right? It's like, a lot of athletes stop giving themselves grace, which is like, hey, like, I'm facing some of the, like, again, some of these pitchers that you were talking about at this time, it's like, they were doing really good. Like, like some of these, she's you just don't give yourself like, at the time, a lot of athletes miss that. It's like, well, I just haven't been hitting as good. And I'm like, yeah, but look who you've been playing. Like, you've been playing teams that are better, that are higher. And again, yes, obviously, are they all like generally good? Yeah, but it's like, there's a big difference between like, top 20 teams compared to, other teams. There is a bigger, difference in depth. And,
that pitcher comes out, but as soon as that pitcher comes out, their backup just isn't as good. What's like, you're playing a lead team. Like, well, the girl coming out of the pen is also pretty good. She was an ace on every team she's ever been on too as well. And those are things that you start to forget when you're in the mix. You're just like, no, I just expect, I don't care who's on the mound, that I should be hitting, this. Because I have pro guys that do that too, and he's like, oh man, I've had a really tough last 6 days, like last week. It's like, okay, I looked at who you pitched, like 2 top pitching staffs in the league. 2 of the teams have like elite aces that had won crazy awards over the last couple of years, Cy Youngs and this and ever. And then it's like, well, yeah, bro, like you face some of the top pitchers that play. It's things to also consider. And it doesn't mean that I'm moving at my best or I'm playing at my best, but it's just like, again, like, I'm a human, I'm not a robot. Like, there is gonna be times where I'm tired because we've been traveling, been on the road for 11 days, or again, I'm also getting back and getting my schoolwork done, and we also have all these tests that I'm responsible. There's all these things that play into a performance too, rather than just thinking, well, it's me in this box against this person. It's like, yeah, but there's a lot of other dynamics where it's like, they're playing a home game, you're playing a away game, you've been on the road for all these days, all that kind of mixes in too.
It has been a long-standing joke that I needed to be stressed about school to play well, and we were on spring break, so I will say that it started with that, and like right around the time we were like doing where I was not hot, it's right when school was starting, there's nothing to worry about. Just gonna put that out there.
She's like no excuses.
No excuses, but and I remember we had a call before the 3rd Virginia Tech game.
You just need something to keep your mind busy, right? So then you can't think about your performance because you're like, oh, I got to do this damn test right now. Like, I got this project I got to do. I ain't got time to sit here and woe is me. I can't do it,
Because we talked before the 3rd Virginia Tech game, and I just remember, like, I was a mess. Like, I couldn't focus. I was like, I suck. I'm like a horrible player. I can't hit for anything. And then you were just
hold on. Cut away at this moment that she's still hitting like 365 or 3 whatever at the time. Okay, so like I'm like, okay, I'm like, all right, got it.
And Virginia Tech's scoreboard is big, and the numbers get bigger when you do bad, and their fans are mean and old. It's all these like 65-year-old men yelling at how you suck and need to be better. Like, I took a pitch that rolled in the dirt, and someone was yelling that I swung because I put my bat down.
Oh, nice, and I love that.
It was probably one of the harder environments to play, but we were having that conversation, and you had just brought up like, no, just imagine how pissed you were last year, like, and the years before, like, you weren't playing at this point in the year, like, you weren't playing consistently. Like, imagine telling that kid that you've started 35 games so far out of 35. You've hit 4th for most of the year. Like, come on now, like, you got the number 1 offense in the country and you're hitting 4th. Like,
if you're on the number 1 offense in the country and you're batting 4, what does that make you? One of the best hitters in the country. So maybe chill out, like, maybe take it in. And also too, I was, the other part was connecting you with the girl from last year is to give you some perspective of just being like, hey, like, have gratitude right now, right? Like, instead of being this thing of like, I need all this X, Y, and Z, and I'm not performing to my levels. Like, compared to what? Like, compared to batting 0 your freshman year? Like compared to what? We make this, this comparison to like, it's almost like a fake goalpost, right? And we kind of talk about it. It's just like, at the end of the day, like, if you would have gave yourself at that moment, that other perspective, gave you a glance of what you're going to do your senior year, a junior year, I give you a vision of what you're going to be doing your senior year. You're like, wow, but you're in the moment and it doesn't feel like that. And that's why we're like, our feelings are liars. They're not true all the time,
And then like, we had just gotten to this thing where it was just like, I felt like I couldn't get a hold of a ball for anything at that point. And it's one of those things where you have to, like, it's not always gonna move, like, your body doesn't always move the way you want it to move. So we did stride stops like that day, and it worked out. I got like a hit and a walk in a game, and like, I felt better, but I knew this wasn't it. And then
it was like a Band-Aid.
We hit a Band-Aid, and then Clemson's like, okay, I'm still not doing good. I get one hit, I think, that entire weekend. And I'm just like, okay, so we still need to work some stuff. Like, I was on the phone with you, I think, 2 or 3 times over the next, like, 3 weeks. And it was one of those things where, like, there's a flash. Like, yes, I would have, like, a double against Clemson, a home run against Boise, a double against Cal. But it was like, I do not feel good. And it was a little bit because it's just, like, you build up your senior year to be, like, this big momentous thing.
For sure.
And then you're like, it's almost done, so I have to, it was really just passing the halfway point and be like, oh, I'm more than halfway done with my last year. Like, I got to get, like, amped up. Like, I want to do all these things. Like, I need to be here, here, here.
Yeah.
And then the expectation becomes, like, more than you can possibly do.
For sure. I was gonna mention that is typically, from my experience of coaching seniors, is that seniors do that all the time. And they create this expectation of this momentous senior year, but it's like, in reality though, and that's sort of parents, everybody's like, it's their last year, all these things. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes is your senior year your best year? Yes. Was your senior year best year? Yes. But at the same time, right, that's not, like, the journey is going to be the journey, right? Like, it's not because you want it to be your biggest year or because you want it to be your breakthrough moment or X, Y, and Z. Like, I never got that, right? Like, my senior year never happened, okay? Second off, on top of that, you know, my junior or sophomore or whatever year you want to give them, my 6th of whatever, I don't know what gets past, you know, senior when there's sophomore and juniors in that range. But in any case, you know, again, I tore my shoulder, I couldn't play, like, it didn't go to plan at all, right? Everything went opposite of what my plan was, right? And so I think that that's common, obviously, that happens with seniors, is you guys start having these lofty expectations. It doesn't matter, and that's why I said, like, moving the goalpost. It doesn't matter, because if you would have started the year and said, hey, what would you like to do? If I would have told you where you were at that moment, you'd been like, hell yeah, like, that's a good senior year. And then all of a sudden you're in it and you're like, no, I moved the goalpost where it's like, I got to hit 400. I got to be the 4-hole the whole year. It's like, dude, none of these things, you were just, again, as we go back in the story, rewind the clip, right? She was saying, I didn't know if I was going to be in the lineup. And then all of a sudden, I'm batting 360 in the middle of the 4-0, but like top offense in the league. And then also I'm batting 4. And then I'm over here going, hey, like, I don't feel good. I'm not doing enough, you know, and all these, you know, storylines that I start to create later on that, again, like, that's where obviously, you know, journaling or reflecting or some of that stuff can be great too, is like to remind yourself, because more of it is like a perspective, you know, you lose perspective, right? Because, you know, when you start being successful, even when, like you're saying, it's like, well, I'd hit a home run, I'd hit a double. And it's like, well, yeah, but like when you're hot, no one can get you out. And then when you're really bad, anyone can get you out. They can put a little girl up there throwing 45 and you'll find a way to, you know, clip it to the third baseman.
I don't
or
want to
something.
talk about that one. Because that happened. I'm so serious.
I remember when we were like, it's just, yeah, but they both happen, but really it's managing the in-between. It is your normal day-to-day is going to be like, yeah, like I got one hit, and you know, and I got one hit this series, but then the next series I was really hot. Or there was a couple series I didn't really hit very well at all, but then this one series I was, you know, crazy and I banged, and then like that jumped me there too. And then like the numbers are gonna lie where they lie. But the problem is if we compare all of our numbers to when we're hot and thinking that we're gonna hit like that all the time, right? And there's a lot of factors that go together of like what that is, right? But it's like no one, including Mike Trout, like I've seen Mike Trout go freaking 0 for 28 and then go like 17 for like 23, and then you're like, okay, and hit like, you know, 7 home runs, and you're like, this guy's Mike Trout, right? But it's like when he's 0 for 28, right? Like if he's sitting there going, well, you know, or how about when he's just average? Let's say when he's like, you know, 4 for 16, or, you know, or 4 for, you know, 13 or something like that, right? You're just like, okay, like, you know, he's not terrible, it's not great, it's, you know, it's just like, you know, hit 2 homers in there out of those 4. It's like, but those are really what it is. It's not like riding the roller coasters, the ups and downs. It's like, that is hitting. Like hitting is, I'm not going to just be hot all the time, and I'm not going to just destroy everybody all the time. I'm training to, right? But at the same time, you know, I can't punish myself or, you know, again, get to these states where it's like, I'm not doing enough, right? Where it's like, you are doing the work. You can't expect results, you know? You can do the work and, you know, but at the end of the day, like, you know, we're not in control that much to be able to, you know, did that girl jump over the wall and rob that home run, that diving catch in the thing, or she threw this pitch and if it was slightly 1 inch to the right, I would have hit a homer, but now I hit a ground ball. It's like, there's so many little small things that are just like, you know, are outside of our control, especially when we're hitting. It's like one of the hardest, you know, variable, you know, there's crazy different variables on every single pitch. Like the pitcher, as you know too, it's like if I measure you, your data will never be the exact same. Like different, slightly different forces, slightly different angle. Pitcher, the same thing. She's throwing that ball. It's not the same exact pitch. This one spun a little bit more, a little bit faster, a little bit slower, a little bit more horizontal, a little bit more vertical on that pitch. And it's like, so you as a hitter, it's like you made an adjustment that might have hit. If she would have threw the exact same pitch again, you would have hit a homer. But she slightly underspun at that time. And so you popped it up or whatever, right? And that's where a lot of times as a hitter, we can get so stuck on just results where it's just like, hey, sometimes she spins it into my barrel. Sometimes everything just going my way and they start leaving stuff in the fat part of the plate and, you know, I'm just hitting and now they're starting to approach me and throw to corners of the zone. Or they have seen my stats and they know. I was telling Paige that when she started batting 4-hole late in the year. It's like, you don't think that they're preparing for you, the 4-hitter on one of the top offenses in the thing? When you come up, the pitcher's like, and the catcher, because you know what it's like to sit behind the plate. We're executing on this girl because she's the one that can put us, you know, and lose us the game, right? And so like it's very different and you know there's levels to that of like they make an adjustment then you got to make an adjustment and you know and the mental side of that too as well, you know.
I think catching really offered like a unique perspective because like
sure.
I'm in the scouts on our meetings, so it's like we'd play Virginia. It's like, okay, like here's the hitters, these are the ones to focus on, but this one, and it's like starred 3 times, that's the one in a tie game they do not get to win.
For sure. And we definitely don't throw them there.
Yeah, and so then it's like thinking about it, and it's like, okay, so in a tie game, I'm not getting a rise ball right where I want it.
For
like,
sure.
Probably not.
Yeah.
And coming to terms with that, and then in that struggle, this is right towards the end. I don't think I told you this, but like, I had screwed up base running like bad in one of these games. But just like, it was a late game and it was tied and you know, like, you never know if that run scores or anything.
For sure.
But it was just like, oh no, this game feels like it's on me. And I like had gone to my car and I'd been very good about not being 2 up or 2 down. I cried in my car for like 45 minutes.
Feel that.
And then I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is my senior year. This is supposed to be fun. Like, I'm putting I stopped having fun somewhere. And it was like, cause that was the whole thing, like why I played the summer before, like, cause I had stopped having fun. Like I was having fun at the beginning. Like, why am I freaking out so much that I'm not having fun at the end? 100%. And that was right before we go to Boston. And it was just like, okay, I need to get back to myself. Like, I love this game. Do I wish I could play longer? Yes. But I'm only guaranteed through this week and the ACC tournament, and I'd like to think we're going to a regional. Like, we've been in and out of top rankings all year, but like, you know, you're never guaranteed.
You're never guaranteed, right?
So it was just like one of those things.
We never trust.
Like, you never trust the committee.
We never trust the committee, all right?
You never trust that. Because especially when we got towards the end of that selection, I was like,
it's getting tight.
I was like, there's no way, right?
There's no way. Hold on. I mean, there's never a 0% chance.
I was like, we've been as high as 12. There's no way, right? I was like, 16 should go second. That was my point of view. But I remember just going to Boston and being like, okay, like, forget it. Like, if this weekend doesn't go how you think it is, just to have fun. Like, because if you put so much pressure on yourself hitting, you're going to screw up catching. And like, the one thing I had always fallen back on was like, I know I'm a good defender. And so it was just kind of like, take a deep breath. And we had worked up till the ACC tournament. But we were, because I hit at one of our, because we were at Boston College for 7 or 8 days. I hit so horribly at the practice right before the ACC tournament. I was like, oh, goodness gracious, like, I may not get a hit until I'm done. I thought I was going to go hitless in the ACC tournament and the regional.
Oh, boy.
I was like, I'm going to be that catcher that they're talking about always has to get pinch hit for. And because it was just one of those things, like understanding, like my legs have also caught 50 games by this point.
You caught in every game, yeah.
Like I had caught every game thus far. It's been 50 games.
Yeah.
After that start, we didn't run rule many teams. Like a lot of our games were high scoring, so there weren't a ton of like run rules in that span. So I was catching like a minimum of 6 innings.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like let's get back. Like I'm not swinging how I know I can because I'm changing things. And then Pitt was like a deep breath for me. But when we finally got to the tournament, but I like hit okay against BC, but I was just like, okay, this might not go how I think it's gonna go. Yeah.
And then you got, again, I think we'll kind of wrap with this part is like, then you got into the regional, right? And when you were playing with, it was bittersweet, right? When you guys get pinned with Oregon at the same time, right? It's like, all right, well, one of them only makes it out of here. So it's like, like one of you guys is going home, but it was also fun to watch you and Paige kind of play against each other and stuff too. But at the same time, like you played really well. Like both of you guys played really well in that tournament. You guys were kind of like, especially when you played each other, you guys were both like hitting. And I'm like, okay, she has one, then she has one. It's like, you guys playing against each other was just like this back and forth. So anyways, how did you kind of describe that?
It was very cool because like my brain had kind of flipped around ACC tournament. Like I finally like square one up against Pitt, and then we played Duke, and that was one of the best pitchers we had seen in like a month, like 3 weeks. And I was like, I had squared one up there too. And it was we had talked about like kind of, because I had tried so hard to not be a crazy pull hitter.
Yeah.
And then we talked about like, why are you trying to fight it? Like if you hit a pitch that's a ball off the plate outside over left field fence, like who cares? It went over the fence. Yeah. And kind of just being like, okay, this could be it, but I really don't care. Yeah. And I don't think I hit very well against Binghamton. I truly don't remember, which is crazy because I used to like in depth like search through everything to figure it out. Yeah. But we were playing the first game against Oregon. I just felt really, really calm because I felt like at that point in time, our offense could hit anything, and I felt like I could hit like we had, because I think Grind, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but she throws very hard and she moves very quick, and we were pretty sure that's who we was gonna throw. Yeah. And we had moved BP up, and so everyone's like fouling things straight back off BP because I've done this math before. I know that BP was from like 76 miles an hour. Like I know it was. Yeah. But I had squared up my very last ball of the day, and it just like went, and I was like, oh, okay, if I can hit that coming at like 85 miles an hour, like I can hit that pitch. And I don't know what about it was, but the first ball that I hit off of her where I like, it just lines over the fence, I was kind of floored because I was like, dang, wow, that went. But because I had whiffed hard the pitch immediately before that. Yeah. And I was like, that was diabolical. It's coming again. Yeah. Because, it was a good rise ball. Like, she has a very good rise ball. Yeah. And that swing was on every single platform. Like, because then I hit the home run. Because we had talked about, like, I don't have to do all this stuff past my body. Like, once I get through the ball, like, I'm good. I don't have to keep going. Yeah. Especially, like, with hitting, we always talk, like, the heavy ball swings. Yeah. Like, if you're facing someone who's throwing ridiculously fast, it's not swing harder, it's brace harder. You know, like, hit the brakes. Yeah. And I'm so proud of that swing getting like immortalized because, like I was like, I can see the brakes actually working in my swing.
Like, look at my brakes.
The barrel goes through and like hits it right after contact and it just goes. And I was like, oh, okay, I know how to hit in a regional. Like, I'm hot when I need to be.
Again, I remember you know, kind of with that, right? Like you guys both, I was like, all right, they're both going to win their games and they're going to have to play like, you know, towards each other too. Why don't you, because again, you both played well, but I'm going to slide this in here. I'm going to slide this in here. You guys seem to tune it up just a little bit more when you play each other. When you and Paige play, we play, and I know there's also the Oregon, Stanford, all that other stuff too, but like she made a play, we won't get there yet, I know, it's tricky. She made a play that like, I think that you kind of really helped her, like turn it up another notch too as well. But also too, I'll say another reason that too is like turn it up because you kept answering back. Like you had multiple times within this regional where like you had like an answer home run or like a major double or like, you know, big moment of the game where you needed to answer back or the game would get out of reach, you know? So, you know, yeah, why don't you kind of like, you know, talk about that side of it too as well.
Yeah, I had obviously struggled at and versus Oregon like previously, but it was kind of this thing where it's just like, and it wasn't necessarily like because Paige was on the other side, but it was just, it's when it kind of hits you like, oh, I'm fighting for another game. Like I'm fighting to live another game right now. And even in that like 1-0 matchup or like the 1-0 game in the regional where you're like, no, I'm fighting to put myself in a better position to keep going. And I feel like I always have done decently well like under pressure and situations like that. And I enjoy like getting to, you know, be the face that's like, if you punch, I'm gonna punch back. Like that's fine with me. Like I have no issue like stepping up for that. And I think it's just fun because I'm a very like, you can see my emotions when I play. Like I'm going to be loud. I'm going to like make some noise. Like if I get a double, like I'm gonna show it. Like I don't care. And I think that those like 3 games were some of like the most emotional like captures I think I've had. Yeah. Because like we have a moment where I have a RBI single that their second baseman like dives past and it gets past her before she can dive. And you know, like I haven't seen like many pictures of myself like right, and there's a moment where you can see like it goes under her glove and I like fist bump because I think that made that game 4-1 because like I had made it the home run, I made it 3-1, but that made it 4-1. Yeah. And it's like, okay, I'm the one like doing this and you know, I'm helping us get another game. And it was just one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's okay to like show this like emotion and everything. Cause you know, I've earned the like opportunity to showcase my skill right now. Yeah. And then the last day, yeah, I was always gonna cheer those on how they went, so. I very much enjoyed hitting a home run 0-2. Like for sure. I've been told I look way too comfortable hitting with 2 strikes at certain points. Like someone's like, should you just start with, we'll do joke rounds where it's like, okay, 2-strike round. Okay, sounds good. I'll just start hitting now. Like I've always enjoyed hitting with 2 strikes because I felt like I've always had very good hand-eye coordination and been a pretty good hitter. So hitting like crazy 0-2 pitches always felt fun to me. Because especially, you know, like when pitchers are trying to throw their like waist pitch and then they just get it where I can hit it. I really don't care if it's in the zone or not. If I can hit it, I'm swinging. For sure. And it kind of turned into like a mentality of like I'm having fun up there. And I got to the 0-2 count against Grind again and I had not seen a drop ball from her the entire time. Don't know why I swung at this one, but it was 0-2 and I was just like, I'm going. And it wasn't necessarily a strike. And that's the thing, I went back and watched a lot of these things now, like being done and looking at it from an outside lens. Home runs I hit, I think 2 might have been in the strike zone. And it was just finding like your own zone, but realizing that I could be like a player that makes an impact on like hard pitches is kind of where I made my living. But that game was very fun despite the outcome. And like making plays defensively, like it was what you wanted. It didn't end up the way I wanted, but you know, like in terms of like a regional matchup, that's what people like, that's what you ask for. You want a dogfight. You want multiple lead changes. Like it came back and forth the whole time. And like for a regional, I thought we had one of the better regionals. Like
For sure. Yeah, that was good. Yeah. Yeah, no.
I'm not talking about how it ended,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, so like, I'm not talking about the end.
I'm done.
Yeah, no, and then why don't you kind of just, we'll kind of wrap with this is, I was trying to give you some space after the season wraps up, but also at the same time, like wanted to congratulate you though too. And then also, obviously you having the time to kind of reflect on, just training and doing all those things and preparing for those things. Cause I mean, how many conversations, like you, for example, we talked about is like creating your own zone and being like, hey, like just cause it's ball, like you hammer that ball. Like why would I let that go by when all of a sudden I'm gonna get a pitch in the zone, but I don't handle it as well. Like, we do all this. And so like all these small moments of things going into work. And also obviously not only just your time here, but in general with just working on these things on your own by yourself and remote training and all that other stuff. What would you say too, just about like experience wise, like with, what would you say like your biggest takeaways from like training with us, your biggest takeaways from just like the journey that you kind of went through in that regard?
From like a personal standpoint, in terms of pressure, like pressure is always good. Doing things like in your training that create pressure, like that's great. But there's not a need in competition for self-inflicted pressure. Like there's enough going on, and I was very bad at creating like an extra sense on me. Like it'd be a big situation and I'd be like, okay, you have to do good now. Like it's nothing should change. It's just another at bat. It's just another game, stuff like that. But training here, like it kind of helped me focus stuff. Like I would try to do stuff like, I used to like run around in between rounds when I would hit because I would be trying to like get my heart rate up for like a big situation. So it's like when that situation comes up, like my heart rate is going to be beating and I'm going to be used to hitting like that. And do like crazy stuff like that. But then it was like finding a way to like put extra intention into my reps, like with all the training here. I found like kind of channeling that where it'd be like we'd do the card game with like different situations and stuff like that, kind of thinking through how to like approach hitting and like, okay, just because like this at bat's starting and I'm getting a strike that's like up and out, doesn't mean I have to swing at it just because there's a runner on first.
And so context of people that don't know what the card game is. So what we do is we have a deck of cards and it has a bunch of different situations and it has a bunch of different counts and X, Y, and Z. So it's basically preparing you for, let's say the umpire does make a bad call, right? It's like, I didn't choose this situation, but it's the situation I'm in, and like, okay, what do I do now, right? I got an 0-1 count, it's an 0-2 count. There's a girl on second base. There's, this is the game winning. We're up by one, we're down by one, and we're pulling cards. Doing with that, and like, with that is like to mimic some of that, and then obviously we'll mix pitches or we'll do other stuff depending on the day. But it's again to practice some of those things of just being like, hey, like instead of like, yes, you can go into a scrimmage and you can do it, but a lot of these situations you don't commonly get into a bunch because it requires a lot, right? But in games, you see them all the time, right? Like it is 0-2, that is the winning run is on second base, or we're down one, or X, Y, and Z, or the umpire is this. And sometimes I would add extra layers like, hey, like, sometimes you guys would take a pitch and I call a strike and I know it's a ball, right? And just to get you ready for that situation is like the umpire obviously is going to call a call at some point that you don't like in a big situation, and like now what do you do, right? Like you didn't choose this situation, but at the same time like you're in it. How do you respond? Like practicing some of that where instead of like you said, there's definitely nothing wrong with like getting your heart rate up and training in that way, but also too, if you get better at managing the stress, right, and better, and you have tools and resources and like get back and out of like, well, if this happens and this, it's like, okay, well, none of that is useful, right? Like how do you get back to like, what do I need to focus on where I get my most, my most ideal like situation for me to be successful in one way or another. I know is like a way that we utilize that quite a bit too.
Yeah, and then training here, just like when I would hit by myself, like I'd be training and not going through the motions, but I'd be trying to make adjustments on my own. But I felt like I had tools to help me like make adjustments to figure things out. Like I started, like I would throw in, I think, reverse leg kicks at the end of the year. Like I started just doing those all the time before games.
Yeah.
It would just change with the things, and I would have like intentional work to do.
Yeah.
Before starting, like instead of just, I was a big fan of like the grip it and rip it mentality growing up.
For sure.
Like I'd just grab the bat and start taking hacks, but like doing some prep work beforehand, like that was all new stuff, but I felt like it opened me up to like further succeed, like because my body felt good to go, and then like the swings came easier, and then I didn't feel like I had to swing super hard to do things, and
for sure
it kind of opened me up to do all this stuff. But like I don't think I have the year I have if I don't come here, you know?
Yeah, I know. But also, like I said too, it's like, it's a mix. Like, I always talk about it. It's like a team, right? It's like you're dedicated. For example, like because I know where your heart's at, and that you are working and doing all those things. Like I am taking that call on Saturday at whatever you just got done with, whatever, right? And you're in this emotional state, right, of doing that, right? After too, a lot of times, as you guys don't see the other side, right, is that I might have got off the phone call with 2 other people already today because they're also playing this weekend or doing other stuff. But again, along with that, like that's why it's fun in that way, because it's the journey too. It's like we're a team in the same way. Like I can't go up and hit, but at the same time, like that's not my role, right? Just like your role is not to play shortstop, right? Your role is to catch this, what you're to lead this pitching staff, do all these other things, and so like that part's always fun and rewarding too as well, to kind of see you guys go through your journey and like be a part of what you guys are trying to achieve too, because like your guys' success is also our success and stuff too, and so we love to watch you guys grow up and and go through the process of transferring into life and like what that looks like too. But so it's been great. But I always end with a prayer, so we what I'm saying, we got to pray it out real quick. I'll pray for this transitional time in your life too as well. So dear Father God, thank you so much just for continuing just to bring amazing people like Allie like into our lives and into our training environments, and we just ask that you continue just to guide her and just be the lamp to her feet, God, and just during this transitional time, and just remember for her to put her eyes back on you, God, and just just can over and over again just bring her back to you over and over, because again, it doesn't stop with softball. Softball just is something that again reveals some of these things. These things are going to show up again throughout her life, and then she's going to use some of these tools. So if you can just continue to remind her and keep her eyes towards you as she transfers to this next part of her life, and you just open up doors that lead her towards your glory, God. And we just ask all these things in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Amen.
Well, until next time, Farm System out.